everybody, and welcome to another week of the Frenzy Extra. Andy Lacombe alongside Jim Wilson, Worcester Telegram and Gazette sports editor and Home Team Magazine, and old friend Kevin Shea, who dropped in. Thanks for being here.
Just walking by, said, Shea, come on over.
Thanks for coming.
I happen to be in the neighborhood.
Thanks for coming by, Kev.
Time.
You know, we got a lot to talk about. Playoffs, yeah, right? Playoffs. Yep. We're already in the playoffs. And but before we get there, we had some shakeup. We had some stuff we talked about a little bit on the Frenzy, but now we have a little bit more time to talk about
playoff momentum games.
A little momentum, yeah. And which one? Where do you want to start? You want to start with Neshoba? Do you want to start with Marlborough? Both teams in Division 4 had big kind of upset wins over.
Yeah, they're good.
Teams.
I mean, I think Neshoba, talk about them after the loss to Wachusett the week before.
Yeah,
that was what most impressed me about the beating Shrewsbury last week, because. I don't want to say left for dead, but that was an eye-opening loss. I mean, I'm sure that wasn't a fun week of practice after losing to Wachusett about 35-0.
Yeah,
a lot of questions to answer. You know, there's their first big test since probably the Marlborough game a couple weeks earlier, and they fell flat. And I'm sure it just ate at them all week. And they came out and with a game against Shrewsbury, who's another great team. A couple injuries to some key players, don't have as strong as they used to be. But they were the way they were doing. I think Shrewsbury went up early, went up at halftime. Neshoba never gave up. They sort of hung in there, and at the end they were able to get a late lead touchdown to get the win.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Second half defense.
Yeah.
Defense
for
holds
Neshoba.
up.
Second half making adjustments. Second half defense, and it is. You're getting up off the canvas after getting whacked the week before, where nothing went right for them against Wachusett, and then to come back off the canvas and to beat a really good Shrewsbury team. That's a huge feather in their cap, and it's a lot of momentum going into the playoffs.
Going to be number one.
Where they face another team coming in with a ton of momentum, Marlborough, who had the best game plan, and they do this every year. I talk about Sean Mahoney all the time and just how smart he is, that their very first possession of the game, they were milking that play clock down. The quarterback, Richie Weber, would wait till the umpire raised his hand, then he would start in the cadence. But they did that every single play. They took possessions away from St. John's. St. John's probably lost at least 2 possessions, maybe 3, just because of clock management. And that's on the coaching staff of Marlborough, Sean Mahoney and his kids, and it's on the quarterback, Richie Weber. Did a masterful job of that and completed a huge pass in the fourth quarter for a touchdown on 4th down.
Are you allowed to say any of that? Because you're like a big St. John's guy.
I know people think I went to St. John's. Hey, you're all St. John's.
Aren't you like a booster? Are you a booster?
The Biznets, the Mulcahy's, they're going to be like this. Hey, wait a minute.
Join the club, man.
Hey, they don't say that about me. I don't know what the problem is.
That's a good point. John DeMasian thinks I'm always wearing red.
Northbridge knows. They know that I'm their guy right there. Yeah. No, St. John's though, obviously a great team, and you know Amon Dennis coming back into the fold as well, and on offense that can get up and down the field. Teams have tried to slow it down against them. I saw Shepherd Hill try to do it. I saw other teams try to do it, and no one has been as successful as Marlborough was last week. So now you have Marlborough and Neshoba, and you have Grafton and Tantascwa in that division, and each of them are going to rematch each other before they get going.
The beauty of it, right? Rematches. Oh, it's too big. The playoff system, the rematches. You know, people want to see these things.
Yes.
Because if you get to this point, it's your best 4 teams, and I would love to see those rematches. So
I'm with you on that. I like that. That's the one thing that's good about this playoff system is to see these rematches. I mean, that Marlborough Neshoba game came down to a kick, you know, and Marlborough had a field goal to tie it. It was almost about the length of a point after, just missed it. So that's a one-play game. Tantascwa beat Grafton. That was a huge win for Tantascwa, and that was no doubt. You know, that was not 1 or 2 plays. That was Tantascwa winning the football game. So you know Grafton wants a second shot of them coming off beating Northbridge and doing it on defense. You know, that team, Grafton rather, has great offense, and they have great leaders there with Holbrook at quarterback, but it's their defense that sets the tone. And it's Tantascwa, Grafton, that one's going to be won by the defense. It's not going to be one team's offense that does it. It's who plays better defense that night.
Yeah, and it's not just 3 yards in a cloud of dust for either of these teams.
No.
It used to be Tantascwa was that spread offense. They throw the ball over the field, and Grafton was the double wing, pound it.
Right.
Now you got Holbrook, man. He throws a really good ball. Yeah. Saw him throw a nice touchdown pass to Jackson Sonnet.
He's great on the ground, too. So.
Sonnet flies.
Yeah. So
I mean, he is as fast in person as anyone I think I saw this year in Central Massachusetts. So that's a really, really good team. Let's get to Leicester-Oxford, though, in this segment. Leicester has to win to get in. They're still in a win and continue kind of mode, but they've really been in a playoff mode for the last couple of weeks, since the second half of the Millbury game, right? Or even beyond. They knew they had to win out.
That's right, the Undertaker. Get the GIF. Get it up there.
They're back.
They're back. And I think both teams looked at it, I think it was billed as like a mini Super Bowl. For both teams. So I think Oxford knew what they had going into it. you know, I think Oxford's a great team. I love what they're doing. The program's back up. The schedule is exactly what they should do. They put them back on the map, get some good skilled players, and they just, you know, they're able to compete now. And so it was good to see them actually they knew what was at stake.
Yep.
They knew going into Leicester, if they win this game, they're in the playoffs, nobody can take anything away from them. They played well. It was one back and forth, just like it was last year. So, but Leicester, credit to them, they answered the call. They ended up, you know, got the big plays when they had to, held them off, and they got the win, jumps them into the playoffs. You know, they're playing West Boylston. Good consolation prize.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a rematch game.
Another rematch
game too. But yeah, you got to give Leicester credit, and you got to give Merrow credit, the quarterback, because he brought them back in this game, and the defense too, of doing a nice job of putting a parachute on that Oxford running attack. The Oxford team has been able to run at will this season against teams, and Leicester, and credit the coaching staff and the players, but they did a nice job of just putting the parachute. Don't give up the big play. Make them earn it 3-4 yards at a time, because it doesn't matter what level of football you're playing, whether it's Pop Warner up through the NFL. It's really hard to drive the length of a field, drive a long field consistently without making a mistake, without a holding call, without someone slipping, without a guard missing a block. It's just hard, and that doesn't matter what level you're at.
Jim, you and I before the show were talking about Millbury and their win over Auburn this past week. Millbury's a team I saw in the preseason, and they basically said, you know, we just have to stay healthy. We're going to try to do the right things, try to condition, try to stay healthy. For the most part, it seems like they're the same team, guys, that I saw in the preseason, still playing here in Week 8. Ray Richards and his coaching staff have done a terrific job. They lost the guy early in that game against Auburn, and they were still physical, and they were still moving the football against a team with more numbers. I mean, this Millbury team, a lot of credit. Now they go to play Littleton.
Tough team.
But it's a great season.
Just to get there. It's almost like with Burncoat. You want to see these guys rewarded for getting that program back up to where it should be into the playoff mix. Millbury, it's been a while since, like, you know, we talk about guys like Bucky Richards and those guys.
Right.
You know, the whole, you know, when Millbury was a wagon. And now, you know, it's nice to see the coaching staff get that program back into the playoff mix again. They had a great season. They started off great with a win over Valley Tech in overtime. There's a great, Robles is a great running back, and I think Greenwich and LaRue are good skilled players. They're going to give Littleton all they can handle. But Littleton's a tough, you know, it's one of those gatekeeper teams. No matter what division they're put in every year after realignment, it's always like the road goes through Littleton. It's like a final boss in the video game. You got to sort of beat them to get to the next level.
Central Massachusetts, the playoffs, every division, combined records are winning records. Last week we talked about how Eastern Mass, there were a couple of divisions that had combined, the records were below 500.
Right.
Only one sub-500 team to qualify in Central Mass was Murdoch in D8. They were 3-5. Blackstone Millville is 4-4 in D6 to qualify. Oxford, David Prouty, Ayr Shirley, and then Bay Path, the three teams with the highest power ratings, and they were all in D7 to not qualify for the playoffs. You
almost make like an annex playoffs on that, almost.
Yeah, you know,
you could line it up.
Could.
Basically a consolation first round this week.
Back a couple of years ago when it was top 8 went, they'd be
right. But are we doing
But
it?
this is better.
Are we doing it better?
So much better.
Are we doing it better?
All respect to Oxford and those teams like that. You look at the 4 teams that made it. I mean, Leicester beat them head-to-head. Those 4 teams deserve to go. You can't. Like I remember a couple of years ago, Worcester Tech was one of those teams that was out for power rankings, but they had a good season. You can make an argument for them being in the playoffs. I don't look too much at these teams that aren't in the playoffs that are playing these games next week. These guys got robbed by the power rankings. It's very rare because every year, just the math says it. There's going to be 1 or 2 teams like that. This year, I could see an argument for some, but I think they got it right for the most part.
As we go forward into the playoffs here coming up this week, and we'll talk more about it after the break, but is there a division that you're looking most forward to? I mean, it doesn't have to be 3. I mean,
no, there's a lot of those. Well, look at 4. Look at 4. Look at 7. Leicester and West Boylston, BVT and Assabet. Those are great games. Yeah. Those are really good games. Back to are we doing it better than Eastern Mass? They start the playoffs a week earlier.
Right.
So if you wait that 1 more week, maybe, because now instead of now you have double the amount, you pare it down. Wait 1 more week, now you have fewer teams in the playoffs, like Central Mass going 4 instead of 8. Then you kind of eliminate some of that. So, you may have a couple that get in.
I think last week in Eastern Mass were like 3 upsets.
Yeah, so that's going to eliminate a lot of it. Just go 1 more week.
You have a better feel for the teams that are, I think you should go Thanksgiving.
I'm with
you. But again, that's another segment.
But I'm with you. I mean, football was not designed to be 2 months and then playoffs.
Right.
It's not designed to be 8 weeks and then playoffs. It's designed who's going to be successful over the long haul into November, into late November, an 11-game season through 11 weeks, not through 6 weeks or 7 weeks, through 11 weeks of the season. Because, right now it's hard to play football. Early in the season, September, first 2 weeks of October, it's okay. It's still nice weather out. It's good. Now it gets cold, it gets windy, it gets rainy. It's not fun to practice. It's not fun to play.
Darker early.
So who's now going to rise? That's what football is designed for.
Yeah, and you've been banged up a little bit over the last couple of weeks and kind of test your mettle, who steps up, who's got depth. All right, we're going to talk playoffs. We're going to talk more statistics. Perhaps, I don't know, there'll be some more math. Kevin apparently is a math
done with
wizard.
math now. We're done.
But in just a little bit, we're going to take a quick break on the Frenzy Extra and be right back with Jim, Kevin, just three guys having fun.
Yep, and a sweater for Willie this week.
Swear, it looks nice. Lots of place up to the playoff time.
All right, the conversations continue through the break, but we are back. We are back. We have a graphic here to show you Central Mass highest opponents' points. Now, I guess theoretically this would be teams that played good schedule, tough schedule, or teams with winning records within their divisions. West Boylston, number 1, 87 points. Then Northbridge, Wachusett, Maynard at 78 points. Tantascwa, Grafton, and Leicester all in that 76 range. The highest non-playoff team points for their opponents was Leominster with 55.2 points.
They played a brutal schedule.
I mean, this just kind of gives you a sense of the schedule they're playing. Now, again, does it mean anything? I mean, Wachusett's the only team in D3 that's up there, and Grafton and obviously Tantascwa are D4, but a lot of these are in lower D5 and up divisions.
I don't know. I think Marlboro and Neshoba would probably say, hey, look at our schedule. Our schedule is really good. St. John's will say, hey, Catholic Memorial and Springfield
Central.
Yeah, Central. Are they even part of this equation? I don't know if they are or not, because those teams are obviously really good.
Again, I was unaware there would be any math here today.
Just tell Grady his thing is bunky. Wasted his time and ours.
Grady, thanks for the graphic. We appreciate it. All right, so let's talk playoffs now. Let's start with 3, all right, and then work our way down. You have Doherty and Shrewsbury in one matchup, Wachusett and St. John's in the other one. I mean, I'm not going to get to go to either of them because they're too close to Worcester. So Kevin will probably be
I get to go to
at least one of them. Kevin, actually, I think you're going to be at the Wachusett St. John's game.
Outstanding.
Wachusett
St. John's game for the world.
That's a good point.
Of course, wearing red underwear. So just not the show. But Wachusett St. John's, a rematch. Wachusett had this game, won.
Wachusett's built for this time of year. I'm telling you right now.
This is it, okay.
I would favor Wachusett in this game. I favor Wachusett in this game because of their ground attack, because of what they can do between the tackles. I think that they can go straight ahead, and I think that's going to be the game plan. Go straight ahead, try to push the front 7 back of St. John's, do the same thing, and Wachusett does this just as well as Marlboro does. Control the clock, take away possessions. Mike Dobzinski and his crew will be looking at the umpire again when he raises his hand. Then they'll start it from the very first possession. You take away possessions, you control the clock, you play a physical, straight ahead, north-south game. Make this basically a board drill. For 4 quarters of a board drill, who's going to come out on top? The other thing is they have the home field advantage. Is going to be awesome. The Badlands are going to be rocking, and that plays a factor in this game too. But both teams are going to be excited because I know St. John's has a couple players that are from Holden, Paxton, that Rutland area, and I know that they're excited about going back to and playing in front of kids that they grew up with and went to elementary school with that are now going to be yelling at them.
Yeah, and maybe getting an escort in and having a lot of people at the game. Pioneers are going to bring it. There's no question. What do you think?
You know what? I like Wachusett this game, but
wow.
It's just because it's like what Kevin was saying, the way they've been playing, and I just think they're coming in pissed off.
Yeah.
Can I say that on a Frenzy?
I think so.
Is it after 10 o'clock?
No,
you look at this. I mean, the way they lost that game, when they had it in hand, and they scored. St. John's scored 24 points in that fourth quarter. Got a pick 6 to sort of seal the win. They have been watching that tape with foam come out of their mouths for all the rest of the season. They want this rematch. It's at the Badlands. Everybody's gonna be up there in costumes, and it's gonna be crazy. It's one of the toughest places for an opponent to come in and play. Even St. John's, which will match their attendance. Guy for person for person. Yeah. But still, I think Wachusett wants this game. They don't want to show they were the better team. Win it when it hurts. I mean, but that being said, St. John's they've seen Wachusett. They know what to expect. Having that coaching staff at St. John's be able to watch tape and break a team down, for a second time, seeing what they did against them. Well, we came out in this. What did they show us? They did this offense. We should have ran these plays to sort of get a play early. giving them a second crack at Wachusett could be dangerous.
And they put Emon Dennis in the backfield against Marlboro last week, so they started handing the
he
ball
healthy?
off to him.
That's the other thing.
They
Is he
started
100%?
putting him in as running back. Now you have, the fastest kid in Central Mass, and he's getting the ball maybe 6-8 yards behind the line of scrimmage and just looking for a seam. All you have to do there is zone block and let him
When was
find the
Schofield
seam.
throwing for over 2,000 yards this year, having him, if he has to let it go,
And
with
he
two of
can
the
run.
best receivers.
And he can run if you're going to blitz that way, or if you're going to drop a
This will be
bunch of
tough.
guys.
Wachusett's bigger, though. Bigger up front.
Yes.
Bigger in the
Yes.
trenches.
Yes.
They're tough. But Chris Moriarty, the Charlie Weiss of Central Mass, he just can't really, I think it's a huge game for Wachusett to see if they can get over the hump.
Mo's been up watching like Oregon State.
Get over the hump.
Yale. He's been up watching
Well, in
Pac-10
this too,
games
you know
all
that the
night.
Wachusett coaching staff, if given the truth serum, would say, we're glad we lost the first game.
Right.
And this, because now
is
you're
what
going to
you
come
want.
in with that venom, like you said. They're going to be ticked off coming into this game.
Get over the hump. Doherty, do they get over the hump against Shrewsbury?
I've had them number one all year. I'm
You're
sticking
with
with
them.
my
Can't take-
Highlanders.
Ride
I'm
the
sticking with my
Highlanders.
Highlanders.
Ride or die.
So all those Doherty people that think that, he just loves St. John's, this and this. Number
We've
one.
had Doherty for one.
Doherty's
for a while.
had number one all year long, and I'm sticking with the Highlanders. They're my number one team. But having said that, you talk about coaches. John Aloisi is awesome. That whole staff is awesome. Holy Cross wins last weekend. First time they've had two running backs over 100
throw it
yards
in there.
since John Aloisi was a running back at Holy Cross. So
1997.
is that a sign for John Aloisi and the Shrewsbury Colonials? Who knows?
It's tough.
I think all year Doherty's heard they don't play anybody.
Yeah.
Now they have a chance to play somebody. They've had, I think, I did the math, more math, 215 to 45. That's what after beating Wachusett and Tantascwa, they've outscored opponents 215 to 45 the rest of the way. So they know they have the offense. Everything's running. Vassar 100%. He can go. They're gonna be tough, and I think they want to show this thing that we're not just propped up by a schedule. We can play with the best teams in Central Mass. We said all for the last couple of years we've heard, Doherty doesn't talk themselves up too much. They've learned their lesson. A couple of years ago they're playing St. John's. They talked up how good they were. They're gonna smack them. I think St. John's hung like 50 on them that year. It was an ugly game. They've been quiet ever since in terms of how good they are. They don't
Coach
talk
Mulcahy doesn't want them talking
But
themselves
this
up
year,
no matter what they're
this year
doing.
they're talking themselves up. Mulcahy's letting them drink the water a little bit.
I don't know who you're
pump their
talking to.
chest up.
Mulcahy won't let them talk themselves up to us.
I think.
But the last time they were undefeated, 1978, Terry Wallace was the quarterback.
Oh, there you
He's
go.
the offensive coordinator. So we got two signs, a sign for either team.
All right, let's go to Division 4 because we've gone a long way.
I know, and this is what happens.
We only have 3 minutes. Grafton Tantascwa
round.
is Grafton the Wachusett of this division, coming in rolling after that loss to
Yes.
Tantascwa, and do they avenge?
Yeah, I think they do. I think they do because of the same thing. I think that they come in ticked off. I think it's going to be a great game. This is a game that I would pay money to go see this game because I think it's going to come down to the final drive of the game. It may come down to who has the football last. I think it's going to be a classic.
I think you got two great coaching staffs. John Hargis has done a great job at Tantascwa,
Yeah, I agree.
bar none, with a young team.
Yes.
Sean
Put
Farland's
him
a
back on the map.
great player, but they got a lot of sophomores that are playing big roles down there. I like them a lot. Grafton is tough. I saw them last week in person. They're good.
Yeah,
They're
I
good.
saw them
They're
against
very,
Shrewsbury
very
in person.
good.
I don't.
They just
I don't
handled,
know.
they
Super
handled
fast.
Northbridge last
They're
week.
big up front. It's a tall ask.
It is. It's gonna be a good game.
Jim Neshoba Marlboro.
I like it's be another one. It's no one that we talked about earlier with the rematches. Wachusett St. John's. Same thing. You talked about it last segment. Wachusett, and Neshoba rather hangs on. A field goal didn't missed at the end. We could be easily talking about Marlboro being at the top of the poll because of what happened. So Marlboro coming off that big momentum win over St. John's, they got back on track. They lost to Neshoba. They lost to Fitchburg the next week. Ever since then, they've been running high. So Marlboro's get the momentum. Neshoba coming off a big win against Shrewsbury, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Great season in D5 for Burncoat to get back to the
I love it.
playoffs. They
Yep.
get Northbridge. I think it's universally thought Northbridge is going to win this game, most likely, right?
I think they will, but say Coach Sincata's done a great job. Rick
Fantastic.
Sincata's done an awesome job there. They got Cooney at quarterback. He can throw the ball, and they're going to have some things dialed up. They're going to be heavy underdogs because Northbridge is awesome, and Northbridge has shown that week in and week out. But don't count Burncoat out of this one because they're going to have, they're going to have some plays that they're going to throw
Isaiah
some
Wright can make
wrinkles
some
in
plays.
there.
Nicola Cantor can
And
make
it's
some
just great
plays.
for that program to see them back in the playoffs.
Don't sleep on Nipmuc in this division.
Oh, they're going to be.
I like where
They're on the
Nipmuc
revenge
is.
shore.
Yep.
I like where Nipmuc is. All right, D6.
And how good would that be?
D6, we
That
talked a
rematch
little
for
bit.
the Central Mass
we talked a
Super
little
Bowl.
about Millbury,
Nipmuc,
Littleton. That's going to be a
Northbridge.
tough task for Millbury. They've
Will.
had a great season. West Boylston, Assabet, Blackstone, Leicester. We got less than a minute. Arch said he was going to hang 40 on everybody. He did that.
He's right.
And now he's in the postseason. He's got Assabet. And then
on the road.
And then on the road, not happy about that. And then West Boylston, Leicester.
Well, that's
in the
what's
next
interesting
round.
about
It's
this.
a
All
great
these
division.
teams, all these teams that beat the other team in the regular season now go on the road in the playoffs, which I don't agree with, because I think if you win head-to-head, you should get the home game, especially unless you fall on your face and lose 4 or 5 games.
There should be some sort of tiebreaker there.
But there should be, and I think the teams that win head-to-head should get the home game in the playoffs. But they're going to be awesome. All of these games are going to be awesome.
You like the Lions?
I'm riding with Buddy.
Like the Lions. All right. BVT.
BVT. Yeah, I'm only picking BVT. I mean, I'm West Boylston because I want Arch. Just favorite Arch.
Oh, you're picking BVT to come out of that division?
No, I'm picking West Boylston.
Yeah,
I'm picking West Boylston. Got to love the Lions. Corey Shea. Those guys. I mean, I saw him earlier this season.
To win the game, to beat Leicester.
I think to win. I think to go off.
Oh, you're taking them over BVT in the tour.
Spoiler alert.
All right, we have to wrap. I want to say I did pick Leicester from the beginning, and Arch knows I did. So we'll see what happens. All right.
I'm taking
I like
the Beavers.
St. Bernard's and
I'll
D8.
take BVT.
I tell you what, we bring Jim on. He's got the quarter zip sweater.
I know.
He's talking smack. This is the way we
Mr.
got to go.
Sid.
This is
Shaft. Is Shaft still open?
Like going to the Greendale Mall, get some hypercolor shirts.
Jim Wilson, thanks for being here. See you next week if there is one. Kevin Shea. We'll be back to talk college football right after this. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in just a few minutes on the Extra.